Well, here we are. We have some more news in the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to be talking about another target for the Philadelphia Eagles on the defensive line. It's been rumored. We're going to be talking about HaasonReddick and how much more weird that it's getting, and I don't know why. We're going to be talking about A.J. Brown's comments on Ringo, James Bradberry, his future, coming off his injury as well. A lot to talk about here, so let's get straight into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So, a lot of things to talk about, and we're going to be going over another prospect for the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of articles have been coming out about a specific player coming to the Eagles, and yes, it's a defensive player. I think if the Eagles are going to make a couple moves, and for my opinion, I feel like the Eagles will make 2 moves before the season starts, okay? I'm not going to say they're bona fide moves because I think the Eagles are realistically going to keep their 9 draft picks next year. I don't think they're going to go too far into anything, but Carl Lawson has been a player that was up and coming a few years ago as one of the youngest, most dominant defensive ends. Unfortunately, in recent years, he's had multiple serious injuries that have hindered his career, and he hasn't done much. So when he's healthy, he's great. An edge rusher, I think, is well needed here. You're putting a lot of faith into Jalix Hunt, which I feel like Jalix Hunt could be a blockbuster draft in the 3rd round for Jalix Hunt and what he could do as a nice balance between coverage and edge rushing, and we're about to find out. Brandon Graham's going to retire. What am I really expecting from him this year? Nolan Smith, I don't know where they're putting Nolan Smith at this point. I know he put his weight up to like 245. He's bulked up a little bit. I like what Nolan Smith has to say out of his mouth, but when it comes to what I'm hearing, I don't know where they're putting him, because he's not even like, I don't even think he's with the 2nd, 3rd team linebackers, at least on the outside at this point. So I don't know what he's doing. And is he in the rotation for the edge? I mean, he must be last in rotation. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with him. And obviously Bryce Huff, $17 million a year. Bryce Huff is going to be a good player. I'm not worried about Bryce Huff. The one thing I want Bryce Huff to be good at, and obviously not to be good at, but he played 43% of the snaps last year. He was in a heavy rotation last year. So this is going to be the year where now he's going to play more snaps, and he's coming off a 10-sack year, his first ever in a heavy rotation. So like I said, you're putting a lot of faith, because Reddick is gone. You're putting a lot of faith into, some guys that really didn't prove themselves last year. And I'm saying really Nolan Smith is the only one that didn't, because they really didn't play him last year. So I blame the coaches for that on their part, because, if Nolan Smith had more productivity, I would felt a little bit more better about the HaasonReddick trade and the edge rusher position in general. So I thought that's interesting as well. So I think Carl Lawson, it would be a perfect fit here. Low risk, high reward type move. We always talk about those low risk, high reward guys. This could be it here. I still think they need to add another edge rusher to this group. So we'll see what happens in the coming future. But I'm excited about Jalix Hunt. I'm excited about Josh Sweat, and they're really depending on Josh Sweat to have double-digit sacks this year. Okay, so that's what we're hoping that he does get. It's a contract year for Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle after this year. They restructured his deal for 13, 14, fully guaranteed, whatever it was, and he's going to be gone. You're going to be losing potentially 2 defensive ends this year. You're losing Graham, you're losing Sweat. I mean, you lost Reddick already in the trade, so you're a little slim right now with no promise behind from what you're really trying to put on these other guys. So I think this is definitely another move for the Eagles to make here. Now, I want to talk about, obviously, A.J. Brown's comments on Ringo. Now, Keely has had a really good offseason. A lot of cornerbacks. Isaiah Rodgers has been a beast. Quinyon Mitchell's been a beast. Ringo, a beast. I mean, everyone has done fantastic. So this is what A.J. Brown had to say on Ringo. He said, Keely is difficult at times to play against him. I go against him a lot. He's definitely growing. You can see different step with him. He's hungry. He's competing at a high level. So this is interesting, because remember when James Bradberry signed with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then James Bradberry was facing A.J. Brown, and they were going back and forth. Like A.J. Brown would make some plays on James Bradberry. Bradberry would get some nice coverage on A.J. Brown during camp, but we didn't really believe it. Like I really wasn't the biggest like oh my God, we signed James Bradberry type guy. But when all the signs were pointing good towards James Bradberry during camp, and he was actually covering AJ Brown and doing a good job on him, that's a really good sign. And look what James Bradberry did in 2022. He had a fantastic year. Kelee Ringo worked his tail off this offseason before OTAs even started. And this is going to be one of the most exciting groups going in, especially when you get the full pads on. They're facing each other. I mean, if AJ Brown's saying this now, that's really good. Slade's leaving after this year. Possibly this could be your future number 2. I honestly believe that. Kelee Ringo might be your future guy on the outside. I mean, we'll see. Not gonna say too much, but it's gonna be kind of crazy. But I really like those comments though. The HaasonReddick thing is getting more interesting by the day, and I'm going to keep covering this because it's entertaining at this point, and it's the offseason, and we have nothing else to talk about, so why not? Reddick has not showed up to minicamp. Reddick this week hasn't shown up to minicamp. We talked about him not showing up to OTAs. Now he didn't even show up to minicamp. Like, this situation is getting more weird and more weird by the day. We talked about why the Eagles gave up barely anything. They got nothing in return for Reddick. Why? I don't know. Why are the Jets taking forever to sign this guy's contract? I say this because this is one of the biggest losses. There are fans that say, and I believe this because I feel right now, as the months go on, I feel HaasonReddick didn't like the way he was being used in this defense, this style of defense last year. And I think he had a big problem with it, especially being in coverage, which we know he's not good at because he's not good at it. Okay. And then all the news was coming out that he was chasing sacks. That's all he cared about. The more sacks, the more money you're going to get. As a defensive end, the more sacks you get, the more money you're going to get. That's just how it is. They don't care about pressures. They don't care about anything else. That sack number is the number one elite number, which all GMs, all they care about is that. And that fits, and that goes into your money. The sacks go into how much you make. You know what I mean? So still hasn't got this deal, still hasn't showed up, still hasn't talked to the head coach. This thing is getting weirder and weirder, man. Like a 26 third round conditional is one of the most weirdest trades I have ever seen in my life. And for a guy that went to the Jets facility, was all happy, meeting the players, slapping hands with everybody, and then all of a sudden he didn't show up to OTAs. Okay, he didn't show up to OTAs. OTAs, you don't have to be at OTAs. But now then it was media day for the photos and the jerseys. He didn't show up to that. And then the first day of minicamp, he didn't even show up to that. He's holding out on a team that wanted to trade for him and pay him. I don't get this. The Jets are weird. I don't get it. I'll never get it, but that's what's going on right now. We're going to file this all off season, whatever, till training camp, because I think it's interesting. If he misses training camp, Jesus, I don't even know. Then damn, he must be a total asshole or something. I don't know. I have no idea, but it's getting weird. Now, lastly, if anybody didn't know, I actually didn't know this. Bradberry had an abductor injury, which isn't a big injury at all. So he'll be back by training camp. He'll be 100%, coming back. Not considered a big deal. This was by Jeff McClain. Bradberry's future. We're going to see what it looks like during camp. We're going to see if they actually really put Bradberry at safety. That's the number one thing. Or if it's all talk just to get his value up and try to trade him. Because something is cooking here. There's no way you draft 2 DBs the first 2 rounds, especially Quinyon Mitchell. There's no way I am telling you right now, if Quinyon Mitchell is a red shirt this year, I will be more livid pissed than you can ever imagine. If that's Vic Fangio's decision, shame on him. And that's all I got to say about that. If you guys haven't checked out the Philly Shakedown podcast merch, definitely check it out. We got a whole bunch of stuff. Some new stuff coming out in the next few weeks. New designs coming out. We have 6XL shirts now. We have youth shirts. We're going to have sleeveless shirts soon. We have ladies single tees now. So definitely check out some of that stuff in the link in the description below. Thank you all for the support. And thank you for watching this video. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, like this video. If you guys haven't, this helps out tremendously. And we'll be going over every day of training camp as well. Can't wait for it. This is going to be the most exciting off-season program ever. You guys have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow. So peace out, guys. Bye.